now we can transition it into our predictions on players, because it's always fun to be like, I was right about player X or player Y. And that's where we'll start. We're going to do this football style. So we'll do a team offensive player of the year, team defensive player of the year, a team MVP, and then a most improved player. Let's just go in order. Like, we'll go 1-1-1-1 for each of them,
I like
and
that.
we'll say who our team offensive player is, and we'll start with you, Andrew, and we'll snake it.
Mhm.
So you can start this one, and then I'll go back, and we'll go in that circle.
Yeah, I think offensive player of the year is such an interesting question. I feel like the other ones maybe came a little bit easier to me, but this one I've been thinking about all weekend basically. It's I think there's really three obvious candidates, maybe four, but it's going to be between Joseph Painter, Gabriel Peck, and probably one most likely Klauss, but Nascimento has a chance to have a shout there if he has a good 6 months and something changes there. But it's between those three really. Uh, and for me, just from what we've seen in preseason, they all I think have a good shout. I'm a big fan of all of them. I think the only thing that weakens maybe Klaus's case is just the accommodation tax, a new club tax. Is going to take maybe a little bit to fully know the system and know exactly where to be. That's so important for a striker, right? But he's experienced. I think he can get that relatively quickly, and I think he will score a good amount of goals. In terms of Peck and Paint, so there's just a sharpness. That's something I mentioned when we saw the games. They just look really just a lot more intentional, hungry. The strikes feel like they're going through faster. I think they both understand the pressure they're under. They both understand opportunity they have with this World Cup kind of magnifying glass, and I feel like they're both ready to attack it. Again, there's just a different energy I think I'm sensing from both of them. I can't wait to really speak to both of them in the press conferences, but I think they're both in a really good headspace, a lot better than they were last year, and I think that's going to do wonders for them. But for it's just it really is a coin toss between a coin toss. There it is
Point toss, yeah.
between Peck and Paintsel. But for me, I'm gonna lean towards JP. I think he is gonna he looks really direct. He's gonna be threatening. In that game we saw against in the preseason, again, there's just this moment in the first half where he runs through the entire back line, just burns them. Nobody's even really close to him. He has really all the time in the world to cut in, and he puts in a really good shot. It's really just inches high and wide. It's super, super close to that top corner. And that just really excited me to see that he's at a different level than these guys at the preseason. I feel like he's been preparing well, and I just think he's going to be in a great spot. I really hope to see him do well in CCC, in every competition, really. But for me, offensive player of the year, it's going to be JP.
Heck yeah. Mila, I have a feeling I know who you're going to say, but I'm not hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that I'm right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Marco Reus for
Yeah,
me.
okay.
This is dependent on how many minutes he gets this season and with the switching of the formations. But in terms of the league, I mean, he had 13 GNA in a season where our DPs couldn't score for shit. They could not finish, and he is a creator. At the end of the day, this is what he does. This is what he's been doing since he's been around. Like I only expect these numbers to go up slightly, but I do think his impact's going to be ridiculous. Because when we are flowing and he's inserted into this squad, he's like the puppet master to me. He pulls all the strings. He does what he wants. Doesn't even have to look at you. He'll backheel it to you right into your run, right into front of goal. So if he can get those easy little layoff passes and just dictate the tempo up top in the final third for our DPs, all three of them now, and Nasi, like I think he's just gonna be like the conductor of it all, just controlling the offense. Hopefully.
Yeah, I struggled with this one just because I want to say a team MVP, but I'm going to base it off of honestly what you guys say. And I have two guys in mind there, but I think I'm going to also go with JP. And it comes from the simple fact that I think that he's going to play more of a second striker role this season. He's going to be closer to the net, and he's going to have to bury chances. And last year, we saw the best version of him towards the end. And with the World Cup season coming around and everything that's leading into me thinking that he's going to do what he did in that initial season, which is be electric off the wing, but cut inside and then bury chances. And I'm fully expecting, especially with Klauss not being a not like a normal 9 in the sense of like he's just a ruthless goal scorer. between him and Nasi, they're better in link up, and I think that makes Paintsel just that much more important. I'm looking at 15 goals as my benchmark. I think for the Galaxy to be good to great, he's got to hit 15. So he's going to be my offensive player of the year. As for defensive player of the year, I've seen a ridiculous amount of hate towards Mickey Yamane, and I cannot understand it for the life of me. I genuinely cannot understand it for the life of me. And look, I understand that the two guys behind him are both super young and super talented. 100%. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm as big of a Cuevas and Miller fan as the next person, but Mickey Yamane is a talent above them. Right now, in footballing perspective, he's a better player. And I talked about it in my video, but he's the only fullback that we have that can invert into the midfield. He's the only one. And if we're going to play Hack, Garces, and Glesnes, that means that Mickey Yamane is going to have to do that job. Because if you go into the structure of Hack into the midfield and he stays into the midfield, we're going to run into the same problems that we had all of last season. Which is like that 2-1-8 that we played. That's my exaggeration on what it felt like, where we got beat in transition every 2 seconds. But Mickey Yamane, in terms of talent level, I said it in my video, him and Marco Reus connecting in the midfield are the two most important players. So he's my defensive player of the year, not actually because of his defense, but because of his offense. And I think that he can be that guy.
Can I piggyback on that? Because I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be like, he's my MVP. I'm just
He's your MVP.
Put that out there. Yeah, he's definitely, for all the reasons you just listed, he's gonna contribute offensively and he'll contribute defensively. The shape, in terms of just that hate or just the criticism he got, I think it's because he's too good for what we were last year. He was too good. We asked him to play the 10 from right back. Not play the 10, like go sit in the 10, but get your ass from right back to the 10, and then get your ass back.
Yeah.
And create for everyone who's not going to finish. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? This kid, like, he's running the show at right back.
Yeah.
Ricky Puig goes down. We have a Marco Reus whole injury, and we ask our right back to fill that gap. It's insane to me. So for anyone to talk shit on him or to talk down on him is absurd to me, because Vanney trusts him to be this like sole creator in that system last year. Obviously, we were shit as a team, but for him to have that expectation from the coach and his surrounding players on his shoulders, I think speaks a lot to like what they expect out of him and what he can do. And
he finished with the second most. He finished with the second most assists on the team last season.
Exactly.
Like, and he missed a bunch of games.
He missed a bunch of games because everyone was.
And he's a right back.
Cuevas should be in the team. Like, I get the Cuevas hype. He's very good. He's also linked to a new team every 2 months.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. I don't think he's staying very long. We have a guy right now who's very fucking good and solid, and we just need that. He's also just grown a lot. Like, we met him 2 years ago, and he was quiet as hell.
Yeah.
And then we see him in all these videos now in training, and it looks like he's just confident, which is awesome. Like, I think he's so good.
Yeah, agreed.
Defensive player.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you just went to MVP. So who's?
I know.
Who's
sorry, I had to. I didn't want to.
No. That's fair.
Defensive player is probably gonna be Glesnes. He's just gonna be that rock in the back. I don't know if there's much to say about it. I think he's just gonna be solid head, fit, not too old, not too young. So he's gonna be intelligent, know where to be, but not too rash in his decisions. And hopefully he can help with the Garces. I don't know. I just think he's a chicken without a head, a very fast chicken without a head. So someone next to him needs to be just like reliable and solid. And I think Yoshida was that for a time, but it's slowed down a lot. So this should be the leveler for the defense. I'm hoping.
Alrighty, Andrew, your defensive player of the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a copy paste. I think for me, there was really only Glesnes. I do love Yamane, and I think I agree with everything you guys said. He's basically Trent Alexander-Arnold if instead of young and fast, he was, smart. And, it's just, it's a very smart way of playing. It's a fantastic way of playing. It looks great. It works. It's effective even at right back. If we had 11 Mickey Amanes, it'd be a great team. But we're talking defensive player of the year. I want to focus on the defensive contributions, and I think it is going to be Glesnes. The way I broke it up in my mind is like we have the most consistent player. It's going to be Glesnes. I feel like he's going to get probably some of the higher minutes across the team. He's going to, again, just experience. He's going to be there. He's going to be a leader. And that's super impactful. That's super important. At the same breath, the other way I looked at it, which is kind of maybe a little bit of a foil to Mila's, Hellas chicken take, which I definitely agree with. There is a lot of growing that Garces needs to do. But I just feel, I mean, when you're building a team on, this is a dumb example. You're building a team on FIFA, whatever it is, your 2Ks, you have these like fast players, your managers, they got like 90 something pace, but they're cheats at everything else. They're in your team because of that 97 pace. That just, it brings a different element to the game that it's a game changer. And that in itself, I think has a lot of value. Is it enough value to make up those headless chicken moments? I think so. I think it does average out because speed, unless he's hurt, Emiro Garces is never not going to be fast.
He's the fastest player in the league. You're right.
Exactly.
By a wide margin.
That's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's a headless chicken, that comes on and off. So there's more consistently great things that you're getting every single day than headless chicken moments. He's going to cost you a couple goals, but I think that washes out when he makes those 5 recovery runs and he stops, one of the other, Hani Mukhtar, any of these fast players in the leagues. He can track him down like it's no problem. And that alone can save you 1, 2, 3 goals. We look at Denny Buwanga in the last couple of LAFC games. He loves scoring a brace against us. And again, Garces has been there for a lot of those moments. I'll say that. But again, that's a massive tool that is going to save you goals basically every single game. If it costs you a goal or two every other game, I understand it. But again, there's just 2 different ways. High value and then like something else kind of balancing that versus consistently really, really good. But again, at the end of the year, I said it at the beginning, that's what you want. That's what you need to win a title. Garces is a fantastic tool that you need to have as well, I think. But it's got to be anchored by Glesnes. And it's a kind of a yin yang situation. Yeah. They're both going to complement each other really, really well. So, but again, that depends mostly on Glesnes being that foundation. So
I see a Glesnes crash out.
No, it'll happen.
Like that breaks the connection also. Like that cannot happen. If you're a center back pairing and your senior center back is fucking literally losing his head at fast guy to his left, like it's done. That breaks the connection if that guy doesn't trust him. So that's where I get concerned with Garces, is that like Yoshida didn't trust him, and that was clear. Like we were watching it with our own eyes. On the pitch, you could see that Yoshida doesn't trust this guy, or didn't at the time.
I don't think
added pressure, but
they didn't trust each other. But they also the system didn't allow them to trust each other because I broke it down. We put a 2-1-8. Like it was either Yoshida wasn't fast enough, or Garces thought that he could get there, right? Which we actually saw in the preseason game, which he needs to eliminate from his game. Is he's always one step forward and never one step back. And for a player of his speed, he doesn't need to cheat. Like just be one step back and just contain, because when he steps forward, that's where the recklessness comes in, because that's yellow cards and that's when teams can play through us. And that's a learning thing. He's got to learn that. And to your point, Mila, I think there's a couple of points of contention for me with this team and the way that we're going to play, where that's one of them. If Garces cannot figure out how to level up his IQ,
it's just defensive awareness,
then he will not start. Yeah, he will not play. He'll end up getting sold, and Hack will move into the center back role, because that's the whole point of bringing him in.
Maya's still there too.
Like to me, I know it's a crazy thing to do, but Yoshida and Glesnes, if we control possession, that's a fine back line.
I would never be mad to see that. I would never be mad at that.
It just depends on how we're playing. I know you don't. But if we are controlling the ball in a game, then I don't mind it. If we're going to play a back and forth basketball game, then of course Garces makes sense. But then again, these high tempo games, that's when the IQ is important, and he doesn't have it yet. So
I think that brings up
in high what am I even trying to say? Like high frequency games, he's just it scares me. I don't trust him, and I'm hoping that'll change throughout the course of this season, but that's basically my main fear at the defense.
If we were more transitional, I'd have no problem with that because we'd sit a little deeper with Glusness and Yoshida. My issue is because we hold the ball so much, we just are prone to mistake, and that's just the
fair,
level
yeah.
of this league, right?
Mhm.
So if we get burned with the ball, that's just transition opportunities. And Glusness is not the fastest athlete in the world. Yoshida is definitely not the fastest athlete. I think,
No, you're right. But
and
if
that's
they
my only
smart and
concern.
can
But
cover the ground and cover the spaces, then it doesn't matter. That's the thing.
that's the
Like
issue.
there's
Is I have
slow center backs
PTSD.
all over world football.
I have PTSD
Not
from
all
last
of them
season.
are
Yeah,
fast. That's that's totally fair.
this
But
is more of a
what
Vanney
your
thing.
PTSD?
This is more
I
of a
know, but
Vanney thing.
I'm contesting that for this one, and I know I'm Mr. Anti-Vanny. That center back partnership, like you have to know when to go and when to sit, and you have to know that's unspoken between the two of them. And if Garces cannot develop that with any of our other center backs, then we have an issue. Because that was the issue for me
Yeah.
last year, is that, like you were saying, Yoshida was too slow, Garces wouldn't know when to step. That's a communication
And they
issue.
got lost. Yeah.
And they get lost. And then that creates more issues between the two of them, and then they just can't play together because it's done. The
Yeah.
relationship is soiled.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking at that center back pairing, but Glesnes, they brought him in for a reason.
He should carry the water. He should
has
carry
to.
the boats, right?
He has
Like
to.
that's really what he's brought in to do. There's a chance that he's a captain at some point this season, right? Like,
Mhm.
very similar to Maya in that sense, where he comes in at this age where you're like, he is your guy, he is your rock, and everyone else around him becomes better just by him being there. He's like a force multiplier. I think that's a perfect segue into the MVP for you, Andrew. Who's your team MVP?
This was another really fun question. It's just a lot. I think if JP has the year that we want him to have, like in that 15-20 range, he gets it. And I think, again, you mentioned it earlier, but there's that World Cup push. He has to really be delivering and taking those chances if he wants to appear in the World Cup for Ghana. He's, one of the substitutes that gets called on the bench, but he's really fighting to be that first name. So if he can prove that he's electric, that he's one of the fastest in the world, that he can finish, that's the exigency on him, right? To be the Galaxy's MVP so that he can go ahead and be Ghana's first name out in the World Cup. So with that motivation, I think he feels like he has to, and the hope is that makes him do it actually. So if that turns out, which I think it will, there's just a lot there that suggests it could. We really hope so. He would be my MVP. So I'm gonna say I think JP my MVP
He's
because of that.
your O and your MVP.
If he's scoring
Okay.
those goals, he's
Yeah.
gonna. That's massive, right? At the end of the day, we talk about Glessons, the impact he's gonna have. He's probably gonna put a couple in the back of the net from like a set piece or something. But those goals, again, that's just what win you games. It's what gets you that point or two or three. So, I think JP. To someone else, there's gonna be a lot of massive, I think, players. Again, to me, I think what this team is built on this year is everybody doing their job. There's not like a breakout Ricky Puig, you have your Gabriel Pex, your Paintels, who are probably going to be the closest thing to that, your DPs. But it's just a bunch of good MLS talent. If they all perform, you're going to have a deep run. So it's about hoping for that. Once some pieces start falling, you think of your Garces, if he doesn't necessarily learn that, if there's just these little holes, if those arise, then the situation does get complicated. And that opens the door for someone like perhaps Edwin Cerrillo, a Marco Royce to kind of pick up that slack and take that team MVP role. But I'm just not even going to consider that. In my head, the Galaxy, all these players are going to perform because they can. They've shown it. And that's going to help Paintel. Paintel is going to have this motivation to score a bunch of goals. He's going to score a bunch of goals. He's going to win the World Cup with Ghana. We're going to win the league, and he'll be my MVP.
Win the World Cup with Ghana?
Oh, yeah. You can clip that.
Not on U.S. soil, bro.
No, we can't. I can't allow that. I can't allow that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Panadol?
Peck. No, I want to shout out Peck.
He's my team MVP. So
let me give my spiel because I did shit on him a lot last year, but it wasn't. It was out of a place of love and concern because his finishing was abysmal.
Yeah.
And from the games that we saw at CVI, it looked clinical. It looked hungry.
Yeah, boy.
And fierce. So just shout out to him for he clearly has been in the lab and mentally working to get that back to normal. It was never that he was shit at that. That's not why we were upset. It was because it just kind of fell off a cliff. But from everything that I've seen, it looks like that's back. And from CVI, it kind of looks like Payne still has the finishing issues now. But yeah, if we can get both of them going, and especially Peck, if he can start finishing, then he can definitely sneak in for MVP. Or for me, I know I said Yamane, but I think if he can get back to what he was, Atletico Madrid, Lynx, like that's what we need. And on top of that, like him and Payne just need to pass the ball to each other.
Yeah.
And the easy chances, we'd have 15 more goals last year if we just did that. So it's little things. Once they fix the hard things, it's still little things, and I think we'll be so well off.
Yeah. That's why he has to be our team MVP. Look, like the ceiling for this team is Gabriel Peck, but he's also the floor, and that's why he's my team MVP. I wanted to say Edwin Cerrillo, so I'll give him a quick shout out, just because we don't really have any natural midfielders. It's him and Sanabria and Winder, right? Like, and of that core, like Edwin Cerrillo has to be your best player. But Peck, yeah, he's your ceiling raiser and he's your floor raiser. Like he had 19 goals and 15 assists in his first season. Everyone was expecting him to be an MVP last season. He was not. He was far from it. And for this team to be good, everything revolves around Gabriel Peck. We saw it last year where I was like, why is he getting the ball at the midline? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And everything that we do and everything that Greg Vanney does is tailored for Gabriel Peck. As much as people want to talk about it being tailored around Ricky Puig and this Ricky Puig hole, like a lot of it was just because Gabriel Peck wasn't good enough. And for this team to be great, Gabriel Peck has to be great. And I think we're on the road to him being great again. I think last year he struggled with maybe the lack of creativity as like a second partner, but more of just having to create. I think it was more of just having to create for himself. So it could have been a good year for him in that regard.
No Payne, no Royce to start the season.
Yeah, we talked a bunch about it last year.
Striker. Like it's tough.
Yeah. Right. So now everything is lined up perfectly for Peck to be great, and I think that so long as his shooting boots are on, because that's the biggest thing. I think he's averaged like the first 2 seasons. I think he's had over 140 shots in both seasons, which is nuts. Like that just means that he's ripping away at all times, and that's a good thing. So
it definitely is a great number.
And then he gets in good spaces, but like you're saying,
he's got to finish it.
Boots.
He's got to finish it. That CVI, the second finish that's the type of finish that he's going to have to.
Even the ones that didn't go in though, like they were hit.
They were close.
Wickedness, and I don't know. There was belief behind his shooting, whereas like we need that from Payne as well, and it just seemed like Payne's a little half-assed on the shooting. I'm hoping that just changes for once we're in season. Maybe he just wasn't giving it its full might behind the shot. But yeah, like you're saying, if he can exceed like the expectation and be that ceiling raiser, and we're in such good position to go not only compete but dominate.
Yeah. All right, let's finish these season expectations off with our most improved player. I'll start. I really struggled because everybody could be most improved player at this point. So it really is just a pick of the litter. I'm going to go with Sanabria because that's my other point of contention with this team is if he plays like he played in that second preseason match, we'll change formations again. I didn't talk about it in my video because I didn't find it important because I don't think that's how we're going to start the season. But if he can become the 8 that I expect that he can, that makes us a possession-based team. And it slots everyone else maybe a little more appropriately. And you look at next season going in with Cerrillo, Sanabria, and Ricky Puig. It's an important role as a U22 player to be serviceable. And even if that is just CCC minutes to start the year or him playing as like a 30-minute guide to come in for like a hack or a Cerrillo mid-games, he's going to play an important role. And I think that the expectation was so high on him coming in because he had to fill Mark Delgado's shoes that obviously he underachieved. And from a fan perspective, and I like to see younger players do well. I don't know why there's this stigma against us wanting to see younger players do bad. But yeah, he's my most improved player because I think that he changes the ceiling of the team if he can be productive.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump in just
thing.
because.
Are you guys both picking Sanabria too?
I'm picking Sanabria, yeah. For basically
Okay.
the same reasons that you
Yeah.
did. If we don't want, and Andrew, do you have anything different from what Dylan said?
Just a little bit. The big thing being
Okay.
that the reason he's probably going to be the best candidate for most improved is just because he has the lowest floor from last year. He has the most space to
Yeah.
grow. Other options, it's tough, but you think of Ruben Ramos Jr. maybe, who, well, the younger kids, he's had maybe the quieter year, but he had maybe you could also say the least opportunity, and probably unlucky not to get a couple goals and assists in the games he did play. So there's probably another decent candidate, but you still expect Sanabria to have the bigger role in the team. For me, I expect Cerrillo and Sanabria to step into the roles that Delgado and Brugman kind of played in that 2024 season. Cerrillo has had 2 seasons now under his belt, really as the main guy in the midfield, and it feels like he's really grown into it. We've talked about how he's grown leadership-wise, so we think he's ready. The question is Sanabria ready to take that step and really contribute in the way that maybe Cerrillo did in the 2024 season, where he didn't play every game. He was more often than not an off-the-bench guy, but when he did play, you appreciated his performance. And it just seems like we're starting to get that. A couple of goals in CVI, just good minutes, solid contributions all the way around. That's what we were looking for last year. We didn't really get a chance to see it, but now we're starting to. And I think that indicates that he is kind of ready to step into that 24 Cerrillo role, which is perfect, that Cerrillo has kind of matured and is probably ready to step into that Delgado Ruben role.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's, no, it's just kind of summarizing what Andrew was saying a little more. It's just like, he had so much expectations coming in. I know people thought he was going to be this like Ricky replacement.
That one highlight
we didn't know. Like
we had no idea what it was.
I know, but like before he even got here, it was touted that is he Ricky's replacement? Is he Delgado's replacement? Like we lost so many midfielders, and like we didn't know who he was replacing. So when you get here and you just ask him to basically do everything for a guy that's coming from was it Europe?
Yep. He was like 19, 20.
And he played for national.
Yeah, he's young. Like he's got a good frame on him, and he played with heart, and then he breaks his collarbone in like his second game. So it's like it was a tough season for a young kid who had a lot of expectations for no reason. For what? I have no clue. But to see him get goals in CVI and just kind of find his space in the team has been nice, and I hope he can just be a solid depth piece that improves throughout the season and then just slowly makes his way into the squad. He does not need to be a starter at this point, but he can do the work or lay the groundwork to be the starter next season.
Absolutely.
Agreed. I think that the other guy that we could have mentioned, and we already talked about him before, so we don't need to talk about him more, is Garces. Like he was the ceiling raiser in the championship year. I remember talking about Jalen Neal at nausea with you guys and being like, I love Jalen Neal. I don't know why Garces is starting. And you guys were like, just wait. You'll see why he's starting. And we won a championship because we brought him in. And if he can be it was so bad last year, and people don't realize how bad it was last year. If he can get back to that first season, and if he can level up his IQ, not only do you have a starter for the like him and Hack could be a very formidable duo in the back for us for a long time, but also it just raises how good this defense can be. And I want to see us keep clean sheets. I don't expect it though. That's why it wasn't my most improved, because I don't expect him to take that leap intellectually.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just the way he sees the game. So he can put in the work to do that. Everything I've seen so far, that's just not his game. He gives me very Kyle Walker vibes. But the unfortunate part about that is that Kyle Walker wasn't a center back. He was a right back playing against wingers on the outside in the less threatening areas. So when you have a center back in the threatening areas whose main and almost only trait is his speed, it scares me because yes, he can do the little things like passing the ball at the back, without pressure. Under pressure, it becomes really scary. Dribbling becomes really scary. Decision making in high pressure scenarios becomes really scary. So just as a defender, I prefer someone that understands what they need to do and where they need to be at all times over someone who can run very fast.
Definitely.
Because at the end of the day, you can make up for that speed problem by being in the right spot, but you cannot make up for this fucking defensive intellect. The
No.
positioning is like
Yeah.
it's super important. And if you just look at world football, the guys that are coming in and just fitting right into teams are the smart center backs. It's not these athletic guys. You want to look at Van de Ven. I just sent Dylan a video of
Yeah,
Tottenham's
yeah.
fans basically describing Garces, a white
Yeah.
Garces, in the fact that this guy is fucking rapid, but is that it? Like,
Yeah.
we need more. And I'm not saying that he can't bring more. I'm saying I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I want to see it, but it has to come quick, in my opinion. We have too many options now for him to just be settled. But that could also be a good thing. Competition creates pressure
Iron
to
sharpens
improve.
iron.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm hoping he takes that leap. I just think from all the footy we've watched and like throughout the years, it's one of the hardest things for a center back to develop if they don't have it already.